So welcome everyone to our sixth session of the Heart Sutra. We are already halfway through our Heart Sutra series. And we will just read what we have studied so far, as we are already halfway there. So we won't read the sutra again, but we will read from what we have studied. Okay, so I invite you to join your hands together. We can read this out together. 观自在 Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, while dwelling deeply in the practice of Prajnaparamita, clearly saw that all the five skandhas are empty, thus transcending all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no different from emptiness. Emptiness is no different from form. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. The same is true for feelings, perceptions, volitional formations, and consciousness. Shariputra, the nature of all dharmas is emptiness. No arising, no ceasing. No impurity, no purity. No increase, no decrease. Thus, in emptiness there is no form, no feelings, no perceptions, no volitional formations or consciousness. No eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, or mind. No form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or dharmas. Okay? So today we're up to this. So maybe we'll read out this together. No realm of the I up to no realm of the consciousness. No ignorance and also no ending of ignorance. Up to no aging and death. And also no ending of aging and death. Okay, so last week we talked about this. I remember the five skandhas, the five aggregates, and the six roots, six dusks. Anyone have memory on that? Sort of. If you miss all the lectures, you can watch on YouTube. So last week, we looked at the six roots, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and how they got in contact with the external sense objects. Like the eye sees the form, the ears hears the sound, the nose smells, and the tongue tastes, and the body touches tangible objects, and the mind have all these mental objects. Right? Remember, these are called the six dust. Why they're called dust? Because they can contaminate our mind. Every day, why our mind is so scattered, why we worry and all this running around all the time, right? Because the six roots come in contact with the six dusks. And also there's the six consciousness, right? Each root has one consciousness. Remember, we are talking about it's not just the eyes are seeing, right? If only your eyes are seeing a dead person's eye, can the dead person's eye see or not? No. It's something behind the eye, working through the eye to see. It's the consciousness. So each six roots has the eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, and all this. And that's how we can actually mind consciousness and to distinguish, to separate, and all this. Okay? So all this six together, they are called the 18th realms. Okay, Buddhist terminology. Six roots, six dust, and six consciousness. All these are called the 18 realms. Okay. So quickly. I might just quickly because this is important and someone new coming. Okay. So last time we talked about the six roots, the eyes, ear, nose, tongue, body. Come in contact with the six dust. Eye sees the form, hears the sound, and the nose smells, tongue tastes, body touches tangible objects, and mind has these mental objects. All of this has the consciousness attached to them. Otherwise, if it's only the eyes are seeing, a dead person's eye cannot see. A dead person's nose cannot smell. It's the mind working through the six roots, so one can see. Okay? And the 6 roots and 6 thoughts, 6 consciousness together, they are called the 18 realms, Buddhist terminology. So this 18 realms provides a framework on how we understand existence. So why you think in the Heart Sutra it says no realm of the eye up to no realm of the consciousness. So no realm of the eyes is talking about the 18 realms. It's referring to that. So why in the Heart Sutras it says no realm of the eyes up to no realm of the consciousness? Why? Why is no? Remember the Heart Sutra kept saying no this, no that, no that. But clearly we said, there's the eye. This is, what do you mean, no realm of the eye up to no realm of the consciousness? It's on the PowerPoint. So when we say, yeah?
Does it mean realm beyond our ability to see through the
eye? Yes. So here it says no realm of the eye. It doesn't just mean it denies phenomena. It's not denying the 18 realms. We said there are the 18 realms, but it's not denying the 18 realms. Okay? So no here doesn't mean nothingness, no phenomena. Do not misunderstand. Sometimes people read the Heart Sutra, they say, no. We are not denying phenomena. We're saying, yes, there are all these phenomena, but they do not have a fixed, independent, or unchanging nature. Okay? It's emptiness. Yes? So no here means empty of inherent existence, empty of self-nature. When you read the Heart Sutra, the no, it doesn't mean they don't exist. It means they are empty of inherent existence, which means they keep changing all the time, right? All the 6 roots, 6 thoughts, everything, they are changing without a permanent fixed self-nature. Yes. Yeah, dependently arise. Yeah, everything arises due to dependent origination, with the nature being emptiness. Everything arises due to dependent origination. Dependent origination means one thing arises and then another thing arises. One thing ceases, another thing ceases. For instance, this body. How this body come into existence? Why we have this body? Yeah?
Food, water.
Yeah, it's your parents, right? Your mother gave birth to you and you have the body. And then will the body change? And will the body disappear? It grows and it died, right? Yeah, so can you see how the bodies keep changing? Same with all the 6 roots, of course, it's part of the body. So everything, they keep changing without a permanent fixed nature. They are not permanent. They are not unchanged. So they are empty of inherent existence, empty of independent fixed self-nature. Okay? So they look like we exist, but we exist dependently, dependent on causes and conditions, not independently. Yes. Okay. Very good. We're gonna come into this concept a lot when we talk about the Heart Sutra. So in a way, are phenomena real? Why? Why you just shake your head? What we see, everything, are they real? Huh? Yeah, why?
Because we see every contact.
But how do you define what's real? True? Or like unchanged? Like people say true love. What's actually true love? No, it has to be unchanged. If you say something that is real, it has to be unchanged. But whatever we come into experience, are they unchanged? No, they are changing all the time. Hence, in Buddhism, we call them illusions. Okay? They are empty of inherent existence. They are not really like real. Yeah. This is not the real reality. We are currently in a dream. Well, that's why Buddhism call everything, it's like illusions here, because things are always changing. empty of inherent existence, empty of independent natures, fixed self-nature. Okay. So next, so let's read out this 3 lines here. No ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, up to no aging and death, and also no ending of aging and death. Okay, for people who just came in, we're talking about the Heart Sutra for the whole semester, and we are halfway through it. If you feel a bit confused, this is normal. And we also posted our lectures on our YouTube channel. You can watch later if you're interested. Okay, so this is another important teachings in Buddhism concept called the 12 links of dependent origination. This is relevant to the first question Denise asked. In week 1, I didn't answer because I said we're going to come into that during the semester. So the 12 links of dependent origination. This is very important concept in Buddhism, right? Does anyone know what this is?
Samsara.
Very good. Cycle of Samsara. This whole thing is called the wheel of life. Okay? The wheel of life, what's inside of this inner circle?
Ignorance.
Sorry?
Ignorance.
What else?
Greed.
Yeah?
And aversion.
Yes. How do you know?
I study.
You started. Okay, you've done your homework. So inside are the 3 poisons of the mind. Greed, anger, aversion, ignorance. Okay? The 3 poisons, they use 3 animals to represent. Can you see what are the animals?
Snake.
Snake represents what? Yeah, very good. Aversion, anger. What else? Pig represents what? No. You may think that, but pig is like ignorance. And what's this one? Bird represents what? Greed. Greed. Why? Okay. Look what the pigeons are always doing in Melbourne Uni. What are they doing all the time? The pigeons. Yeah, like we never not see them not doing that. So they're greedy for food and also for lust as well. Yeah, you can Google about the characteristics of birds. So these are just some metaphors of the 3 poisons of the mind. This is the cause of samsara. Why there is samsara? Samsara means reincarnation because of our greed, anger, ignorance. Greed, anger can also be counted as ignorance because of our ignorance. So give rise to samsara. And what's this circle represents? Anyone know?
6 realms.
Not yet. The 6 realms are here. This is like the law of karma. If you do evil, you fall down. You do good, you go up. Okay? So why we are being born in the human realm in this lifetime, you must have done something good, okay, for you to reincarnate back as a human. So if you do evil, you can fall down to the lower realm, and you do good, that's how you can ascend to the higher realms. You reap what you sow. That's the law of karma. Okay, so what are this big cycle here? Very good. 6 realm. What's this realm? The 3 good realms and the 3 evil realms. Anybody knows?
God.
Yeah, gods, heavenly beings. So Buddhism does not deny heaven or gods. In fact, many heavens, many gods. In Buddhism, 28 levels of heavens. Buddha tells you which kind of gods live there, what's their lifespan like, what their lifestyle is like. Buddhist scriptures have the most detailed descriptions on heavens and hell than any other religious text in the world. Okay? If you want to know about heaven and hell, you can read the Buddhist scriptures. Extremely detailed. Yes. So that's heaven. What's this? Humans. Very good. This? Animal. Hell. Yeah, the fire burning. So the paintings are not very clear, so a bit difficult to see. Many different types of hells as well. Yeah. There's a Buddhist scripture called the Fundamental Vow of the Earth Door Bodhisattva. It describes all kinds of hells. If you're interested, you can search about it later. And this one? Ghosts. Yeah, hungry ghosts. You see how they have big stomachs? They are actually hungry all the time. They can't really eat. They see the food that we eat, like the human realm, they could see that, but they can't eat it. So they're quite upset about it. Yes. So the reason why people fall into like hungry ghosts is because in the past they were very selfish, like due to greed and selfishness, they could fall into the hungry ghost realm. And what's this? This is maybe not, actually this is not very accurate. This should be the Asura realm. Asura is like demigods. They are lower than the heavenly beings. Okay, Asuras, they live below the heavenly beings. Yes, but they have greater blessings than the humans. Okay. And what's the outer circle? Outer circle is what we're going to study today, the 12 links of dependent origination. It explains how samsara come into existence, how reincarnation happened. This is Lord Yama, the judge in the underworld. The judge governs birth and death. He judges according to the law of karma, not according to any written law. Unlike in the human realm, we have like written laws, which actually a lot of the written laws may not actually be in accord with the law of karma. But the law of karma is very fair and accurate. And this is a Buddha outside of samsara. And there's a moon here. The Buddha with the finger pointing to the moon. It's not very good, accurate painting. The moon should be here. And the moon is kind of like our Buddha nature. Right? And Buddha said, we should really try to realize our Buddha nature so we won't get stuck in this endless cycle of suffering. Right? If you are in samsara, there will always be suffering. The suffering of old age, sickness, death, not to get what you want, separation from your loved ones, the suffering of the physical and mental. So in a way, this is unsatisfactory, the existence here. And the Buddha said, there's a way out. Okay, so let's look at how samsara happens. This is the outer circle. I'm just zoom in for you to see. First, samsara happens because of what? What's this? It's very blurry. The quality is not very good. It's a blind person. This is because we have a thought of ignorance. We gave rise to a thought of ignorance. Attachment, greed, ignorance, okay? And then we fall into the cycle of reincarnation. How we reincarnate? Does anyone know what actually reincarnates? Yeah, very good. Your consciousness. How your consciousness reincarnate, you know? So, it's because of your karma, your consciousness give rise to the thought of ignorance, particularly attachment, and to lust. You see your parents and they were doing something, and then you like it, and you enter into the mother's womb. There's a sutra called Entry into the Womb Sutra. The Buddha described in detail how the consciousness actually reincarnate into the womb. Not only the physical cycle, also the mental, what the consciousness, what it's all thinking about when it reincarnates. Due to ignorance, due to attachment, particularly attachment to lust. Do you know why we are a boy or a girl? So if at that moment of entry, you give rise attachment to your mother, you like your mother, you dislike the father, then you are a boy. And that's when you enter into the mother's womb. If you like your father, you dislike your mother, you are a girl. So usually we see girls are more close to the father and sons are more close to the mom. There's a reason for it. Yeah. Okay, due to ignorance, and then here we come. So karmic formation. So this is actually a potter. He's making pottery. All these pictures are metaphor. Okay. So think about when you're making a pottery, how does it like? What's the characteristics when you're a potter, you're making pottery? With pottery, you only do like one push and then it goes on, correct? This is what's called karmic formation. And we also talk about the volitional formations when we talk about the 5 skandhas. This is the intentional habit of the mind. you don't just have one sort of ignorance. Right? From this one sort of ignorance, it gives rise to many other thoughts. Greed, anger, ignorance, everything arises from this. So then this forms the karma. Karma means intention. Intention for the mind acting through your body, speech, and mind. Okay, the karmic formation, this is talking about our mental actions. A series of thoughts. And then here comes the consciousness that reincarnates into the mother's womb. So this picture is like a monkey. Monkey, what's the characteristics of a monkey?
Playful.
Yeah, playful, jumping up and round, very scattered. That's the mind. Yes, that's the consciousness that comes to reincarnate. Remember which consciousness actually comes to reincarnate when we talk about the 8 consciousnesses from the 4th lecture. It's the alaya consciousness, the storehouse consciousness that store everything from the past. That comes to reincarnate. It's all one mind, one consciousness, but when we talk about the 8 consciousnesses, it was just the different aspects of the consciousness. Okay, and next, we had the consciousness, and next, there's some people on the boat. This is what's called a name and form. Form is the physical body. Name here means the mental aspect. It's the physical and mental embryo when you were in the mother's womb. When the mental haven't been when both the physical and the mental, they haven't been fully formed, matured, when they were just in the embryo state, when you were in the mother's womb. These are called name and form. Okay, next we have a house with six gates. These are called the 6 roots. So when you get pregnant, not now but later maybe, you go to the doctor and then they scan the baby, and then initially it's all very blurry. You just see like a shape. It's kind of like name and form. And after some time, when it all developed, the embryo developed, it has all the 6 roots, the eyes, ears, everything is formed properly. Okay? And once everything is formed, you can come into contact with the external world, and we have touch. Right? When the baby first came out, do you know why all the babies came into this world by crying hysterically? Why don't they laughing? Why don't they laugh? Why everyone else laugh, but the baby cries so much?
Because the baby gets disconnected from the mom.
Not only that. You think of, yes. Imagine you are the baby inside the mother's womb, and then when you came out, what will you experience?
Cold.
Cold? Yes, a lot of suffering. Because how tiny was the hole the baby tried to come out? And then they were pulling the baby from that little hole to come out. And of course the baby was suffering a lot. That's why the baby came into this world by crying hysterically. The Buddha said when the baby came out from that tiny hole, it's like as if the baby coming out from a hell with the hell is called, it's like this mountain trying to squeeze the baby. So it's extreme suffering for both the baby and the mother. In the Buddha scripture, at that time the Buddha had no all this equipment, but the Buddha knows everything clearly, not only the physical and the mental. And it's like what the modern scientists are saying. Yeah. But the modern scientists, they don't know about the mental perspective, but Buddha knows. Buddha is all knowing, so he knows everything clearly, without mistakes. And he said, this is the greatest pain also for the mother. The pain of giving birth for the mother. Degree from 1 to 10, 10 being the greatest, it's a 10 for the mother. So we have to really be grateful for our mother to go through this, suffering to give us life here. So then the 6 roots come into contact. So we have the touch with the external world. So once you have touch, what you will have? What will give rise immediately? It's on this picture.
Feelings.
Very good. Once you touch, you'll give rise to feelings, correct? You like, dislike, and all this. Once you have feelings, what will happen?
You will want more.
Yes, if it's good, we want more. You're craving. So this is like a man drinking wine. The wine tastes so good. I want more. So the feeling is, sorry, apologize for the quality of the images. They're not very high definition. So the feeling is a man with an arrow stuck into his eyes, because a lot of time we are very much controlled by our feelings, correct? We are not actually a master of our mind. The Buddha, the enlightened beings, they are the master of the mind, but for all of us, we are the slave to our feelings. So the feelings is like controlling us like an arrow stuck into our eyes. And once you have feelings, if you like it, you will have craving, you want more. What happens if you have craving? What happens if you want more? It's in the picture. Yes.
You cross.
Yeah, grasping. It's like you just go and get it, like a monkey. Go and get the fruits from the tree. Okay? So once you grasp, you get it, and then there is becoming. Becoming. This is actually a pregnant woman. Okay? Why people get pregnant? Because of, touch, feelings, craving, grasping, and becoming. Once you have becoming, you get what? Birth, right? Once you have birth, you're definitely gonna have what? Old age, sickness, death, all the sufferings comes with that. Okay? So this is called 12 links of dependent origination. There are 12 links. Because this arises, that arises. If you don't want all this ceases, that ceases. Okay? By being enlightened, we don't mean that because our true nature is no birth and no death. Another way to say this is we are actually infinite. Sometimes people think no birth and no death. They misunderstand it as being you don't exist. This is wrong. I tell you, no death, no birth in the first place, infinite. Yes. So we actually don't need to be stuck here in the lower realm and keep repeating this a little bit like meaningless cycle of reincarnation and samsara, where there will always be endless suffering. Our true nature can actually be infinite light, infinite life, like a Buddha. Okay, Buddha is free from all this. Arahant is free from all this. Arahant is also a fruit of enlightened being. Bodhisattvas are all free from this. Okay, so because this exists, that arises. Because this ceases, that ceases. So this is the 12 links of dependent origination. Any questions before we move on? I also got detailed videos on YouTube about this topic. If you want to know more, you can also search on it. Maybe we'll post in the WhatsApp group after. Okay, so here, coming back to the Heart Sutra, why it says no ignorance and also no ending of ignorance up to no aging and death, and also no ending of aging and death. This is the text from the Heart Sutra. So before we say, there is ignorance and blah, 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 this happens. Birth, age, old age, all this happens. Why it says no ignorance? Okay, this is relevant to your first question. I think the question you asked in the first week, you said why we had ignorance in the first place, right? Did you have that? Yes. Okay, so what's this word before ignorance? Beginningless. Yeah. So Buddha just want to put an end into this question. Someone asked the Buddha, why we have ignorance in the first place. If our original nature, the Buddha nature, is no birth, no death, and all pure, and why we have ignorance. And once we become enlightened, once we become a Buddha, well, we give rise to ignorance again. So very good questions, right? So why we have ignorance? The Buddha called this ignorance beginningless ignorance. Don't even ask when did the ignorance arise. Why this is not a useful question to ask. First, is ignorance real? I'm asking you. Why?
It's also empty.
Sorry?
It's also empty.
Very good. It's empty of inherent existence. If ignorance is real, we can't get rid of it. Okay, what is real in Buddhism? Permanent, unchanged. If ignorance is real, there's no way for us to get rid of it. Thankfully, it's not real. Yes, but it looks like we are having ignorance now. And we think it is real. Imagine when you are dreaming. Anyone had like a really vivid dream? Inside the dream, you think, oh, everything is so real. You were so scared in the dream, whatever happened. And then you wake up, you realize it's what? It's just a dream. And once you realize it's a dream, when you go out and figure, last night, when, at what time I had that dream? When did I start to dream? This would not be a very useful question to ask. When you wake up, that's it. Oh, it's a dream. I don't need to figure it out. Another thing, it's like this. Okay. Now, you think of us like people with some kind of eye sickness. When we have ignorance, we are like someone with the eye sickness. And then you see a second moon. Initially, there's no second moon in the first place. Okay? And then because you have this eye sickness, suddenly you see a second moon and you ask someone, hey, when did the second moon appear? And then people with perfect eyes, they were like, there's no second moon in the first place. Does that make sense? So it's not useful to ask, when did ignorance arise? Because ignorance is not real in the first place. When you wake up, actually there is no ignorance in the first place. When you wake up, all of this samsara, it's a dream. We are all in a dream. I'm talking to you in a dream. For enlightened beings like Buddha, Bodhisattvas, they can come into sentient beings' dream, that is samsara, and to teach people the Dharma. So the second moon actually does not truly exist. But we think it exists because currently we have some kind of eye sickness. And then we see this, and then you shouldn't be like, when did the second moon appear? And then people are like telling you, people with perfect eyes, they will be like, no second moon in the first place. So a lot of people with
time get this sickness.
This is actually not real in the first place, the sickness. It looks like it's real, but it's not real. This is like the question. Yeah. Even the sickness is not real in the first place. If you're asking, if you're asking when did I have the eye sickness, this is the same as the second moon. Yeah, even the sickness is not real in the first place. Ignorance is not real in the first place. Yeah, it just looks like as if we have. This is a bit difficult to comprehend. In the Suragama Sutra, it's all about this. This is a very deep question, but the Buddha is telling us we shouldn't waste time to think about when did ignorance arise. We should focus our time on how we can wake up from this dream. Once you wake up, the answer is very obvious. But if you haven't wake up, then you keep talking about, when did this dream arise? When did I have this dream? Or what happened inside the dream? This is not very helpful. Yeah. So, in Buddhism, there is a type of enlightened fruit. Many different levels of enlightenment, 52 stages in the Mahayana path. Arahant is one stage, and then another stage called Practical Buddha, Bodhisattva, Buddha, perfect enlightenment. Okay? Arahant, they let go of all attachment, and they transcend the cycle of samsara. Practical Buddha, they observe all this, the 12 links, and then they realize enlightenment. Right? Yes. By observing the 12 links of dependent origination, they realize enlightenment. This is what we talk about. Yeah, like a dream. And when we say someone with eye sickness, also don't be attached to that. This is a metaphor. And if you keep asking, when did we first give rise to eye sickness? It's the same question as you're asking, when did we have the ignorance? It's the same question as you're asking, when did I first see the second moon? Yes. So, our Buddha nature, remember what's the characteristics of our Buddha nature, our true nature? from the Heart Sutra last session. No arising, no ceasing. Always here, even if you are ignorant. Your Buddha nature will not change a tiny bit, even if you are currently dreaming. But your awakened nature is always here. Neither increase nor decrease. Okay? No arising, no ceasing. Again, what's a bit difficult about Buddhism is that it's not theory. You have to practice to realize. It's about how much you practice meditation, mindfulness, you have the concentration, and you give rise to wisdom, and you will slowly realize. It's not something we can just understand with our thinking mind. Yeah. So there's a definition for the Suragama Sutra. I kept mentioning this sutra. If you want to know about all ignorance, the true nature, you can also have a search on this sutra. It's a very, difficult to understand sutra, but inside it has a saying, on top of the original knowing, the pure awareness, you establish another knowing. This becomes the root of ignorance. So on top of the original knowing, it's like this pure awareness, not perceive everything as it is. I don't want you to be attached to the word awareness, okay? Or pure awareness, or label this as, oh, this is pure awareness. No, do not even label anything. On top of this original knowing, the thusness, you perceive the reality as it is with no attachment, no separation, just as it is. That's it. Don't even think more than this. You perceive everything as it is. And then you add on to, oh, I know this, I like this, I don't like this, blah, 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 your attachment, your separation coming. This is the root of ignorance. Okay? When we get rid of ignorance, and when we become enlightened again, will we be ignorant again? What do you think? No, it will not. You will not, okay? Once you wake up, you will not go back to dreaming. So this is like this, once gold is refined, it will not revert to ore. This is what the Buddha said from the scriptures. So from the ultimate reality perspective, the emptiness perspective, there's no ignorance, because we say ignorance is not real in the first place. Because there's no ignorance in the first place. Ignorance is not real in the first place, so we don't need to talk about the ending of ignorance. But now we still need to talk about, ignorant ending of ignorance, because we are not at this highest level. This is talking about the highest level of wisdom. We are not there yet. So now we're just starting this text because the Heart Sutra contains the highest level of wisdom, the truth of life and the universe, but we're not there yet, so we still talk about the 12 links of dependent origination. We still say, now we have greed, anger, ignorance, so therefore we need to cultivate to get rid of them. This is actually also true from the relative reality, okay? But from the ultimate reality, even there's no ignorance in the first place, so you don't need to talk about no ending of ignorance, and there is no the aging and death, all these are just phenomena. Yet our true nature, no aging, no death, no arising, no ceasing. Okay? So this is the ultimate reality perspective. This is extremely difficult to realize, I'm telling you. You may think you can grasp it from a theoretically perspective, but this is not something we just grasp theoretically. It's something we actually need to realize, but it's extremely difficult. Yeah. Okay, so next session we'll keep looking at the text. Sorry for people who are here for the first time. You may think, oh, what is she talking about? Yeah, today is actually a relatively complicated topic. Yes. Any questions? No? Okay. I think it's enough. It's quite already a lot of information. So maybe let's do a merit transfer together. We can bring our hands together. So may all beings be happy and free from suffering. May all beings hear the unsurpassed Dharma and attain rebirth in the land of ultimate bliss. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Amitabha Buddha. Okay. Namo Amituofo.